Yo guys, what up? It's Jimmy here, Jimmy G. Doing some how to prep for FIFA 20. Starting off with the player of the month, investing players to look out for. So here, EA dropped. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So EA, the voting happened not so long ago for August Player of the Month. Uh, and these were the 6 players that you're able to choose from: Aguero, Barnes, De Bruyne, Firmino, Pukki, and Sterling. What's really great about this is that you have Aguero, De Bruyne, Sterling from the same club, so Man City. Then you have Pukki, Barnes, and then Firmino. So Pukki and Barnes are probably going to be really cheap. SBC, Firmino, Aguero, De Bruyne, and Sterling are probably going to be a little bit more expensive. Um, but also, what I do on Twitter is I definitely keep a race going on and understanding. And these, I just typically do the top 5. Maybe I should do 6 next time. Um, but this is what currently is standing. So right now, I believe Aguero is first. He had 6 goals, 1 assist in 4 games. Second is Sterling. He had 5 goals, no assists in 4 games. De Bruyne, 1 goal, 5 assists. And then you have Pukki, 5 goals, 1 assist. Then you have Ashley Barnes with 4 goals in 4 games. And then Firmino had 2 goals and 2 assists in 4 games. So personally, I think it's going to be one of the Man City players or Pukki. I think Ashley Barnes and Firmino are definitely out of the race. There's probably a lot more hype with Sterling or De Bruyne, but Aguero, he had an amazing run. And then Pukki, there's also a lot of hype with Timu Pukki, just because he's going to be a really, really cheap SBC. So definitely want to keep a lookout for him. But just want to give you guys some stats here to understand what it's looking like. And then the other thing, so here, again, the player of the month rates, you're able to vote. So it's definitely be some community voting. But before we dive into the players and you want to buy, let's take a look at the past player of the month SBCs in FIFA 19. Here is a cheap one. I pulled up Lucas, who's the very first player of the month. And I think this SBC is really going to resemble a lot from Timu Pukki if he wins, or Ashley Barnes if randomly he wins. And what's going to happen is this is really cheap. I don't think the player of the month will be at 86 rated. It may be depending on Pukki and Ashley Barnes' current rating. But if it is, then you definitely want to be looking at getting some Premier League players, definitely getting some players from those teams, and then getting some nation players as well. And then lastly is just the player of the month SBC. So what this Premier League SBC typically looks like is 11 players from the Premier League, and then the 80 rating. And then of course they do this to like mess you up a little bit, but it's the 80 rating and 90 chemistry, so you definitely want to pick up players in that area. Tottenham Hotspurs, let's see what they did there. So another 81 rating here, 2 players from Tottenham Hotspur from that, and then you have 4 players from the Premier League. And then you have, look at the Brazil one. So then lastly you have 3 players from Brazil with the 82 rating and 4 players from the same league. So chemistry is always a big thing. You definitely want to be looking at that. And then lastly, the player of the month SBC, which is on all of them. There is no rating. You just need max chemistry and then max 4 players from the same nation, same league. And I believe this one's the same throughout. So this is what you want to compare when you're looking at Pukki or Timu. Or not Timu, Pukki and Ashley Barnes. Next up, though, if Sterling, Aguero, or De Bruyne wins, I think it'd be a very good comparison for Eden Hazard or even Aubameyang. If it's Eden Hazard, one thing you want to notice is, again, they have the full Premier League on here, identical to Lucas. But here it's a little bit higher, so 2 Team of the Weeks, 84 rating. By this time, I don't know if they'll include 2 Team of the Weeks, maybe just 1 Team of the Week. This was in the second month, so this was the second player of the month here that came out in October. So, and then 8 different players. But they also had, so one thing all of them had in common is that they had the nation, the Premier League, and then their own team. So Lucas, the Premier League, nation, and their own team. So I have some players. I picked out some players for you guys to look at. Eden Hazard is identical. They'll probably definitely include this. So for Aguero, they'll definitely have his 6 goals that he had for Player of the Month. maybe a finisher identical as this. And what do these look like? It's just a little bit higher rated, 84 rating. They have these here, so you definitely want to pick up players who Man City played against. So I have some of that in a spreadsheet here. Next up, we have the one-man show. Again, the one-man show is just a super high rating SBC, so I got some high rating players for you guys to definitely take a look at. Finisher, 86 rating again, and then some team of the weeks. Again, if this is the very first one, they may include some team of the weeks. If they do, we're only going to have 2 team of the weeks there, so it's going to be very, very tough. But they also might make this SBC a lot cheaper. The Hazard SBC was about 600K, 700K, depending on when you did the SBC. So I'm expecting the Player of the Month SBC to also be about around that 500K, 600K, especially for being the first one. I don't think they'll probably do too cheap. If anything, they'll make it too expensive, but definitely you want to keep in mind. And then all of them had the Player of the Month SBC. So this one's the common one. So really the big things is Belgium, Chelsea, Premier League, and Player of the Month, and then high rated SBCs here. So, and the Hazard SBC is really going to be comparable to and also Firmino a little bit as well. And then just comparison, Aubameyang was a little bit later in that sense. They did this randomly. I don't know if they're going to continue because this was a huge debate on whether they're going to require the gold card for this. I think they're more than likely going to go away from this. But again, if you look at this, this one was a little bit unique, so it didn't have it definitely had the team. The team is consistent. They did have Africa Unite, so from the African nations, and then they had fast plays. So it's definitely a little bit different than the previous ones. I think that's just because of his nation. They didn't have the basic one. I think he was the only one that didn't have it. But I'll definitely go based off of this. And Aubameyang, I believe, was a lot more expensive, 600-700K. So with that, now let's look at potential players, if any of the different scenarios. And the reason why I'm showing you guys these players is because of really, if you pack them, you could sell them early on, depending on when you pack them. But if you don't, definitely be looking at them. If you hear who won Player of the Month way early than the actual SBC comes out, you definitely want to go through and start picking up some of these players to start preparing. That's why I made this, specifically for the specifically for if there's leaks that come out, I'm able to go in there and start buying some of these players to be really prepared. So if Aguero, Sterling, or De Bruyne wins, want to definitely look at this, because if you notice that one from Hazard here, they had this the 7 goals. So featured the squad with 7 goals. So definitely picking out Bournemouth, Cardiff, or Liverpool with the 84 rating. This one was tough because Bournemouth had the highest rating, was like an 81, Cardiff 82. So you definitely want to be looking at Aguero, Sterling, De Bruyne. They all played these teams. So West Ham, Haller is at 83, Lasagna or whatever, Lasagna. He was 81, 82, or I think he's at 80 or 81. Los Celeste is at 83. You have Dele Alli, which is at 84. And then you have typically Vertonghen and Alderweireld are always really good pickups. They're 87 rated this year. They're going to be at SBC. I hardly doubt anyone's going to be using them, but they're definitely going to be an SBC type of player. You have Bournemouth, so you have 81 rated Fraser, 80 rated Ake, and then 80 rated Wilson, I believe. And then lastly, you have Brighton, which Trossard and Gross are 79, 78 rated. So you definitely want to be picking up these 3 players if one of them wins. Secondly, you have the high-rated players. I think you definitely want to pick some up from the Man City. So Fernandinho, Rodri, Gundogan, Riard, and then Otamendi. And then nations, for at least Argentina, if Aguero wins, you're going to have Otamendi, Icardi, Higuain. So 83. Then you have 85, 85. Belgium, if De Bruyne wins, Vertonghen, Alderweireld. And then if England wins, you have Dele Alli, Harry Kane. Harry Kane's going to be a little bit more expensive, but that's if he's cheap, or if you snipe them, if you pack them untradeable. If there's a different number of scenarios, he's going to be one. On top of that, you have like Pickford as well that I could think of. And then any of the other, I'm trying to think off the top of my head, Harry Maguire, but he's at 82 rated. Yeah. So this is the idea. I mean, you're not going to get all of them, but I think it's probably the safest way, the safest route is to look at these players right here and make sure you have these players in your club. I wouldn't go all in on them, but they may get expensive or extinct if you don't have them. The other thing is I definitely pick up for Tongan and Alderweireld. These are going to be players that you definitely want to have as well in your club for this SBC. Maybe even pick up a couple and have some of them on your transfer, or 3 of them. Really, if you have 3 of them, I think you'll be chilling. Haller and Lanzini possibly as well. Haller might be super expensive because he is a ones to watch. Los Celeste is also a potential ones to watch. So you just want to keep a lookout on that and not pay too much for them. But if you're able to pick one up early and throw him in your club, that'd be really great as well. Now, if Pookie wins, you may want to do the same thing. If they do a score against for Pookie, here are some players that you want to pick up. These are 81 rated below, 80 rated and below for Chelsea. They'll probably just do a high rated Premier League. And if you look at Lucas, I think his highest rated SBC was an 81 or an 82. So these are some really great players that I think are going to be really cheap to pick up, have in your club if Pookie wins. And you guys see that before. So Pickford, Sigurdsson, Ruben Neves, Fornals or whatever, Zuma, and Raul Jimenez. So you definitely want to start with a goalkeeper, 83 rated. Then you got Sigurdsson. Typically the midfielders are a little bit cheaper just because there's an abundant of them. And then you definitely want to be trying to pick up 80 rated Zumas and then 80 rated strikers. Lastly, you have nations Finland and Austria. Austria's going to be relatively easy because a lot of them are in the Bundesliga. So Sabitzer is an 81 rated. Hinner, however you say that name, he's going to be an 80 rated. And then you have Arnautovic, which is going to be an 82 rated. So those are going to be players to pick up if Ashley Barnes win. But if Pookie wins, you definitely want Tereski, Pookie himself probably, and Moisander or whatever. Those would be great players. I definitely think, again, one of the Man City players or Pookie's going to win. But lastly, if Firmino wins and they do a score against or assist against or whatever that looks like, here are some players on here that you definitely want to take a look at. Pope, a goalkeeper. You have Farman, Defoe, Nemward, and Bertrand. These are going to be really low, so I could definitely see something identical to this with the Hazard SBC. Then again, you're going to want some high-rated players. I did pick a couple from Liverpool because it's pretty lopsided. I mean, even on here, you could do Jorginho, Wijnaldum. But it's either you have 84s and belows or you have like 88s and above. So Henderson would be a good pickup, 83. Shaqiri, 83. Robertson also at 85. I don't know. He might be super expensive, but also his stats look terrible. So there might not be a whole lot of hype around him. And then lastly, you have some nations as well. So David Luiz, Miranda, Paulinho would be a special hybrid. So both of them are in the Chinese league. So that'd be a perfect link between the two. And then you have Neto, who's at 85 rated as well. Goalkeepers are generally a lot cheaper, so definitely be on the lookout for them. If you find an Argentina goalkeeper that's super cheap, Courtois, maybe not for Belgium. And then England, again, Pickford, who's going to be 83 rated. So these are the players I'm going to be looking at. Hopefully there's a leak with the player of the month, so I'm able to just go in there and start picking up some players. It's important to have these players in the back of your mind, or at least you know about, that you're able to prepare and just go in there either on the web app or the mobile app, so you could just start picking up these players and be very prepared if you want to do the SBC. If you don't want to do the SBC because you don't care who won, then definitely sell the players because it'll be super cheap. So for me, if De Bruyne wins, I'll probably be doing the SBC. If Sterling wins, depending on who my right wings are, I might not do him. If Aguero wins, I don't think I'll probably do him as well because the pace isn't just quite there. If Pookie wins, I'll definitely do the SBC. But for me, if it's any of the ones, so really if it's Pookie or De Bruyne, I probably won't be doing the SBC. So I'll be just definitely looking at these players to invest and then flip. So that's it, guys. Quick video. Well, I guess not quick. It was about 15 minutes long. If you guys enjoyed it, I'm going to be doing, give me a thumbs up if you guys enjoyed it. I'll be doing a ones to watch SBC investing, as well as doing a deep dive into team of the week 1 and 2 investing and what that looks like. So just helping you guys prep for FIFA 20, get your spreadsheets going, get that going. and just be as efficient as possible, especially in the first 2 weeks. Yeah. And follow me on Twitter down below, Twitch down below. I'll be streaming this stuff. So Jimmy G23 is out. Peace.